Hi guys, my name is Rob Vatt. I'm with Silver Star Adaptive Snowsports, and I'm one of the developers of Snowline. So Amy and I had intended to give this presentation at Sun Peaks, but as you know, that didn't pan out so well. So it's kind of important that you hear this, and so we thought the best way to do it might be just to put together, I'll try and keep it quick, a really quick video and get the information out to you. So Snowline is a system that we developed at Silver Star to basically take on all of the administrative tasks that were eating up our volunteers. We were spending too much time shuffling paper and we weren't necessarily doing it that well. And so over time we developed Snowline to take care of that for us. Then after talking to Christian and Amy, it became evident that as more clubs started using Snowline, that the next logical step was to make it a national system so that all of the information can aggregate up together at a provincial level or at a division level or at a national level. So what we had decided to do was to expand it so that all of the memberships for all of the clubs across the country are all going to be purchased through Snowline starting in October. So this is the first change that you're going to see for your instructors and your students, is that when they buy their memberships, they're going to be buying them on Snowline. Snowline is going to be available to you as a club. It's just there. So how much you want to use it is up to you. You can, I'll talk about this a bit later, but you can decide that you have no interest at all and you want to do nothing with it, and that's fine, that's up to you. Then you don't put anything in, you don't get any benefits out. Or you can say, yeah, we want to go in and we want to register, we want to do our events and we want to sell stuff and we want to manage our schedule, etc. We want to do it all with Snowline, and that's possible as well. So real quick, what does it do? First of all, member registration and then payment to memberships. So you decide what questions you want. There's basic questions, but you decide what questions you want to ask. You decide what forms and waivers you want signed. They're all uploaded. They're all electronic. You then, once they're loaded, you look at them, you approve and say, yes, this is done. And the waivers, like, do you want your picture taken? Do you want to, are you okay with doing a background check? All those sort of waivers, those are up to you. You decide what you want to ask. And then as your members register, then you can see them progress, and at a glance there you can see there's a red person down there. Well, that one red one, that says there's something missing, and you can then go in and look at what's missing, and then quickly at a glance you can look at 100 people and you know right away who hasn't finished the registration. So, and then you can email them, or you can email everybody. You have a fairly rudimentary email tool here where you can type in some text, you can send an attachment, you pick who you want to send it to, because we have all the email addresses of everybody, and then you fire off email. All the CAD certification levels for all of your instructors, for the number of hours of CSIA training, and then uploading marking grids. That's another thing you can do. You can schedule your lessons, that way they're all on a calendar, that way your instructors and students, they get reminders that their lesson is due, either a text or an email reminder, or nothing, it's up to you. And you can allow your students to pick ad hoc lessons. If you've got a drop-in program, then they can register as the season goes on, or you can have a weekly program where it's like a template and you say, here's my kids, here's my instructors, it's the same every week, chunk, 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 and then you just manage the changes as people come and go through your program. Lesson logs, really important. That, of course, and it's hard to get instructors to do this sometimes, as we all know, and that is to fill out the paperwork at the end of the day. And so with the lesson log, you decide what questions you want to ask, so they're the same for everybody. And at the end of the lesson, if within a day the lesson log hasn't been filled in, then the instructors, they get an email reminder and they get a text reminder. We call it hate mail. And so and it's got a link, they click the link, they fill in the lesson log, and it's done. And the really cool part is, of course, this is all online now, so if there's a gap and an instructor wants to decide whether they're going to work with a student, they can just look at what what he's done in the past. Where has he been skiing? And you go, whoa, you know, this guy's too advanced for me, or whatever. It's all there, it's online. And as your coordinators and your instructors get more involved and they get more used to the system and they bought in, then you can start to, as a coordinator, you can start to back off and you can let the instructors manage themselves, so they can take themselves off a lesson. They can push a button to send an email to anybody else who's qualified to get that lesson. And where our instructors at Silverstar are now, and I think at Mount Washington as well, is they're looking at the opportunities list. And so they can see, and looking ahead, and they can see all the lessons that need somebody. And the system knows, because the coordinator said, what is the CAD certification that this student needs? How many instructors does he need? And we have the CAD certification for the instructor, and we know his blackout dates, and we know what days he wants to work, and we know when he's working. So when they look at the opportunities list, there's a sign me up button on the list, and it's only there if the instructor is actually qualified to teach that lesson. Some of the other things that the Snowline gives you is you can take donations, credit card, online. You can send donation, you know, your tax receipts. The of course, reporting is, we're building it up as we go. Somebody says, hey, how can I find out? And because we've got all the data, so it's just a matter of cobbling together a report, and our reports area is growing quite quickly. And the really cool thing is we have it for each club, which then we can then roll up to the division level, and then we can roll up to the national level. So Amy can say, how many CSIA level 2 instructors do we have across the country? So of course there's event registration, so you can set up a training class for your instructors. You can say, I can take 8 people. It'll let 8 instructors sign up, and then as your trainer then basically takes attendance and on his cell phone, and he looks at it and he goes, yep, Bill's here, Dave's here, Andy's here, Ben's here, Susie's here, and that then gives you your training history. Now you know for at any time in the future, you know who took what course. So you can look up Ben, and then you can look up what classes has he all taken. You'll be able to sell ball caps. It's not there yet. Right now, what you can do is you can charge for a ball cap, but you don't have the inventory. I'll be building that this summer. So when there's a race manager, we use it to manage a race that we hold, where the public signs up and they sign up teams, and then they sign up people, and then we put in when they come in, we give them a bib, record the bib. They run the race, we record the results, and as soon as the last person's raced, we know like who's won, etc. So that's there if you want to use it. So that's what it does. Now, what does this mean for you? Depends. If you are maybe a small club, or you've already got a whiz-bang system of your own and you're not interested in this at all, then do nothing. So your people are going to be signing up, they're going to be buying their CADS membership, they're going to buy it on Snowline, and you don't have to have any involvement. It just goes on without you. Let's say you want to do just a little bit more. So people have already registered, so we have your instructors and we have your students. We know that. We've got their email address and their home address and that sort of thing. So just by you as an administrator logging in, you have access to that information. So you've got a contact list. You've got all the CAD certification information for your instructors, and you have an email tool, so you can now communicate with them easily. So there it shows, about half an hour, maybe half an hour training, get used to the system. Go to the next step, which is having your instructors and your students actually registering online and finishing their paperwork and uploading their paperwork, and you managing the process. So again, that's a little bit harder now because there's a little bit of training involved. Your volunteer coordinator or student or whatever you call that person is going to have to know how to do this. So there's several hours of training, and then the other side of it is you got to make sure your program is set up right, so that you've got your drop-in program, your weekly program, your whatever, you got all your programs in there correctly, so that when they register, they're registering for the right thing. So it's, again, it's a bit more work. We're here to help you with it. So you will have a designated person helping you, and we'll make sure that you get it set up and you get it set up right. But it does take some involvement on your part. You want to take it to the next step, which is actually managing your schedule online. Again, it's a little bit more work, and it's a little bit more training. You get so much more back because gone are the spreadsheets or the whiteboard, or we used to have a big white cardboard sheet and we would erase and whatever. It was a nightmare. So a little bit more, you put a little bit more effort in, you get a lot more out. And then the last step is getting your instructors, and your students not so much, but really your instructors, getting your instructors trained so that they look for the opportunities. They take themselves off lessons. They manage it for you. And then, so that's a little bit of training that your instructors have to go through. So the timing of this is, we're thinking May and June. This might change a little bit. It's going live October. So come October 1st, it's there. So we are hoping to get in touch with you over the next 2 months, and especially for the bigger clubs, just have a good one-on-one conversation so that we can learn how you operate, and then we can decide what we have to do, if Snowline needs to change a little bit, if we got to tweak something, or if we can use what's there, or to get it set up. So we're going to be reaching out to you in May and June. We're going to ask you for a few things, like if you're going to actually log on, it'd be great if it looked like you. So if we had a picture of your club, if we had your logo, if we had your colors, and then we got to make sure that we got your name, your address, your contact, your email, all that information. We got to get it in there and get it right. So we'll be doing that in May and June. Stand by. You'll be hearing from us. Thanks for your time.